Hi guys, Antoinette here, and you guessed it, it is HR Tip Tuesday where I share my tips on resume writing, interviews, and workplace environment culture. So today I'm excited because I get to talk about some things that I'm actually pretty passionate about, and it is interviews. So I used to be horrible at interviews. I mean, I was a nervous wreck. I would sweat profusely. I would stutter. I just would be a mess in interviews. But what I disliked the most was the end, where the interviewer will ask, "Do you have any questions for me?" I would never be prepared. I would never know what I'm supposed to ask, what it is I'm supposed to look for. And I would always say no. And that would be my downfall in interviews. But it didn't take long for me to understand and realize how important that was. So today, I'm going to give you 3 questions that you could ask in your next interview to keep and stay away from the dreaded no, I do not have any questions. First question that I think is important to ask is, what is the work environment like here? Is it typically collaborative or is it more independent? Now, this question speaks more to who you are. Now, in my previous video, I made a statement and I think it's imperative and I want to repeat it because it's important to know that you can do your work to your best potential. You have to understand the type of work environment that you are in order for you to really thrive. So, say you are an introvert and your work style requires you to be independent so that you can really show off your skills. You are a graphic designer, and as long as you have yourself and your laptop or your tablet and you can do your own work, you can thrive and you can give the best results that your client or your supervisor is looking for you to give. However, if it is of a team effort and you guys have a specific duty for your overall project, that may give you a bit of anxiety where you have to depend on someone else's, work and someone else's input to really match your style or at least complement what you have to offer in this project. So that may speak to your anxiety and that may not be something that you are, comfortable with. However, on the flip side, you may be someone that feeds off of other people's energy, get really inspired by input, and you can bounce ideas off of other people. And it honestly makes you a better employee, it makes you a better performer. So, asking that type of question can really help you understand what you could really give to this company. One thing I want to make very clear is with them interviewing you, you also understand that you are interviewing them as well. Which leads me to my next question. What does progression look like in this company? The person that was in this previous role, what did they progress to? Now, for this specific question, you want to make sure that with growth, this is a place where you can grow into. This is a place where you can really get your experience and hone in on the skills that you have already gotten or received. Say you were a recent graduate and you have an engineering degree, and your typical progression title looks like an engineer, a senior engineer, and then a principal engineer. And you're thinking, okay, great, this looks like something that I can, really get into. I will progress very quickly, and finally get the position or the title that I have been looking for. However, in this particular role, the progression is a bit different. So you may run into the progression of it being an engineer one, engineer two, a senior engineer or staff engineer, and then the principal engineer. So there may be some roles that you would have to progress into before you can get to that overall title that you're looking for. So the progression may look a bit different in this company. So you want to have a great idea of what progression looks like in that company. You don't want to have a false idea of what growth looks like based on a conversation you may have had with a peer versus reality and what this company is actually providing for you. Now, the last question that is important, but a lot of people don't think to ask this, and I am guilty of that, especially in the beginning stages of my career, is what are the next steps? I can't tell you the times that I have left an interview when I first started working post college and had no earthly idea what was going to happen next. You want to ask this question so that you know exactly what to look for. If you are a high anxiety person and you are really on edge about what's going to happen next, is there going to be a phone call? Is it a second round of interviews? If it is a second round of interviews, is it going to be a panel? There are so many questions that you have post interview that you may not think to ask during. And again, it's what are the next steps? Be sure to ask this question. Hiring managers will happily let you know that they are still in the interviewing process and that once the interview process is over, someone will be contacting you, whether it be the recruiter or whether it would be the hiring manager themselves, contacting you and letting you know what the next steps are. Be on the lookout for an email within the next week, so on and so forth. But this question helps you gauge what you need to be looking for in what timeline. So I have so many other tips and so many other suggestions and advice for interviewing. But I want to invite you to HR Impact Services to book an appointment with me so that I can help you out in your next interview endeavor. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe to this channel and tune in for next week's HR Tip Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.